Hello, welcome to a whole new year of my oversharing series. It lives on. I thought I would use this arbitrary flip of the Gregorian calendar as, a reason to renew how I integrate sponsored content into this series. So I wanted to invite this very consistent supporter of my channel to the front of today's video, Wealthfront. Mayhaps you have been working on your personal finances in 2021, and 2022 is the year where you're at the point where your emergency fund is topped off and you're ready to invest. So if that is the case, Wealthfront is a great option to check out, whether you are a newcomer or, you're a long-time investor. They're an automated investing service. So what that really means for you is that they take away a lot of the pain and stumbling that you tend to do while you're trying to look around and find what's right for you. And when you start off looking into Wealthfront, you'll see there's a questionnaire for you to fill out, which lets Wealthfront know exactly what your goals are, how much risk you are willing to let into your investments. And then Wealthfront's expert designed software will create and then manage, the management part of it being really appealing to me. They'll manage a portfolio that fits you where you're at. Or maybe your interest in 2022 is moving your current investments over to more socially and environmentally focused funds. And Wealthfront can do that for you too. They have a whole socially responsible portfolio, and you can even customize it to the areas that you feel comfortable putting your money in within that. To get going, it's a minimum $500 deposit to invest. And with my link, invest.wealthfront.com/Katherout, there are 0 advisory fees for your first $5,000 managed. I will have that link in the description if you are interested. And as always, thanks again to Wealthfront. Let us launch into the rest of the sponsorship-free content now. Now this is some of the realest fucking content you ever will see. Picking up a vlog camera after I've done my night routine. I have my hair sleeve in, retainer is placed, but I am going through my closet right now to pack for this business trip, and I am audibly groaning. This is my suitcase full of business casual, and I'm seeing some of this stuff and I'm just no, all of this is fuck no, baby. I don't want to wear any of that. I'm oh my God, repulsive. This is the best I've scrounged up so far. But if I have to wear this shirt that I once loved 2 years ago, but now I think is the most repulsive gender ever created. It's been 2 years. I've been out of the system, and I'm nothing about this makes any fucking sense. Buttons, is that what makes something business casual? What the fuck is modest and ugly as shit? Is that what business casual is? Because that's what it feels like. I'm I can't just wear my overalls and Blundstones? Is that not gonna fly? I can't wear this Coleman quilted camping jacket to a business meeting? Why not? It's giving me a weird amount of anxiety. I'm really not looking forward to this, guys. I'm really not looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing where I'm going, but I'm not looking forward to having to dress and look the part, because I don't want to play a part. I just want to be me. Ordinarily, I don't do cut-ins on videos like these because I like to let past Kath speak her truth of the moment. But in this case, I don't think I was able to capture the true root of the feeling. It seems a little shallow here on the watch back, or maybe that's just me being critical of myself. Could be that. But essentially, I was just feeling a lot of dysphoria with having to re-enter into this identity that I've worked so hard for the last year and a half or two to separate myself from, to really reconceptualize who I am versus what my labor is, my values, my self-definition, my success metrics. And then suddenly I'm having to abide by these imposed set of rules that just no longer make any sense to me at all. And I'm not trying to throw myself a pity party. This is how I sell my labor right now. But it would be great to have a little bit more of a voice in what you're able to wear when you sell your labor. Companies benefit from your labor. It would be cool if you got to decide what you showed up in that makes you feel most capable. And in this case, these corporate clothes are not it. It's a capitalist privilege to have like a good paying job that sends you on trips. But this is the reality, is it like it's on their fucking terms. Like when you sign your fucking job contract, like it's on their terms. I do not get to be my whole self at work. And if you do, that is rare to my understanding. And I guess it really does depend on your identity, because identities are policed differently. It's just about acknowledging like the ways in which like I can express myself in a capitalist labor environment. It's interesting that like a fucking blouse has erupted all of these like sentiments, but I have been literally dreading packing for this trip for a week because I haven't touched these clothes in 2 years, and it's giving me so much like cognitive dissonance, like so much dissonance where I'm just like oh. Is sickening. Like, literally feel like I'm in an episode of Mad Men. Like, hello. We got the motherfucking smeg, baby. Not gonna be drinking any of that because you saw what I was reading on the plane. Oh yeah. Goddamn sleep apnea. I woke up an hour later than I should have. Got dressed and ready in 15 minutes. So it's very foggy.
My wounded rhymes make silent cries tonight. My wounded rhymes make silent cries tonight. And I'll keep it like a burning longing from a distance. I ranted, I pleaded, I begged him not to go.
I am absolutely like mystified by this city. I think it's so beautiful, and I just could not walk 2 steps without taking photos. Like, it's so beautiful. I need to come back here for the jazz festival with my family next year. We're already loosely planning on it. I'm totally sober but can't finish the thought because it's 1 a.m. Fucked in the head. This is how I'm standing right now to vlog. No cap. This is what feels most comfortable to me. and my 5'10" stature. It's kind of a vibe. They were having po' boys for lunch, and I literally cannot eat that, so yet again. I am SOL as a vegetarian in the South, which I knew would happen, so I'm gonna go get a little vegan takeout. Everyone here is so cool and hot and nice. One thing I was talking about with my coworkers last night at dinner was like how unfriendly Californians are. Like, we just don't want to hang. Like, we just don't want to chat. We just kind of want to cut things off. Like, we don't really talk to strangers at bars. It's just a phenomenon you experience in California, but I thought it was normal growing up. But here, everyone's just so down to clown and so just kind, and it's just wonderful. Like, hello, beautiful. Hello, gorgeous. She's a pretty girl. This is the shit that literally nobody sees, but like, I'm sure people do this, you know? Like, I'm sure somebody else has done this, maybe even in this hotel room.
Right. I have that, and then I have the...
God.
Yeah, that's good. Are they honest? They still have dessert?
Holy fucking shit. I just realized where the buck stops. And the buck stops right about here. I sat at dinner tonight. To my right, people are talking about how mass shootings are the death of this country, while also casually chatting about their concealed carry that of course they have, because that makes a lot of sense. No cognitive dissonance there. To my left, people are shitting on poor people. And then I go back to my right, and people are talking about how much their brother, who's a Chicago cop, hates the mayor, because as some of you may know, the mayor is, you know, cracking down a little bit on the cops, but like truly barely a dent in the grand scheme of things. It's just cutting their budget a little bit. One thing that my bestie shared, and who I bring up a good amount on this vlog, is a very cherished friend of mine. And when she, you know, a conversation comes up that sort of triggers your fight or flight, you just say to yourself or to out loud, that's none of my business. That's none of my business. And that way it nicely deflects. If people are talking about vaccines and you absolutely do not care for their point of view, that's none of my business. There's really no way for them to come back from that, because it's just like, it literally shuts it down. And that way you don't have to retaliate against them. You don't have to get animated, and you don't have to get your heart rate up. You just leave it there and you let them have their opinion, because you're never going to change someone's opinion when they're in bad faith. You know, like, it's really hard to have like an actual productive conversation with somebody, especially when you don't know them very well. So that's kind of the method I chose tonight. When the conversation went a little bit too far one way or the other, just turned my head to the other side of the table, heard what people were talking about. At one point it was both sides, so I chose to talk to the guy across from me, who ended up talking for 15 minutes about the 7 fishes that his Italian family cooks on Christmas Eve. Was it an enthralling conversation? No. Did I listen to the whole thing and nod and say, yeah, that's so interesting, wow, the entire time? Yeah, because I wanted to hear that more than I wanted to hear things that deeply, deeply trouble me. So I remember how different I am from a lot of these people, and just like, the best way I can explain salespeople is that they're all athletes and none of them are musicians. Like, sales literally filters out the musicians. But it just struck me tonight because the place we ate dinner was at Frenchman Street. We walk outside of the restaurant and immediately people are like, Bourbon Street. And I'm like, no, we're right by Frenchman Street, guys. That's where all the locals go out. None of the locals go to Bourbon Street. They all told me that it's like just too touristy and it's just too nutty. Just too messy. And everyone's like, no, but like that's where all the like action is and there's some good spots there. And I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. There are some good spots there, I'm sure. But like, we should try out this place because we did Bourbon Street last night. We ended up going to the Spotted Cat, which a lot of you recommended me. Thank you so much, because I was really looking for like big band jazz quintets. Guess what the fuck this place was? A beautiful jazz quintet. Amazing bass player. I always had crushes on the bass players in my high school jazz band. I was telling my friend Christine about that tonight. Anywho, people don't even want to...
People, please.
Don't even want to go into this bar because they're like, we can't talk in there. Like, it's like a library. It's too quiet. And I'm like, yeah, because there's fucking musicians at work here. There's people with talent playing for you.
Pay attention, people.
For the price of one drink. Do you understand the value of that? I don't even know how much they're getting paid. They're probably just getting the tips and that's it. And if you're not here for the music, don't fucking go in. Like, honest to God. But it's like, I can't say all of that to coworkers because it's unprofessional. Like, I can't say all that. So, just that's none of my business. I tell them, the girl at the front is like, you guys can go in and get drinks and then stand outside this little patio area and just listen from there. So I tell them that. We go in. I'm not drinking this trip. I'm doing like sober December basically. Anywho, I'm not drinking, so I just get a seltzer at the bar, which is the life hack. If you like, I like sparkling water. Thank God I do now, because like that's like a fun little drink to get. That's just like a little something to sip on, but like not alcoholic. Meanwhile, all the rest of my coworkers are just like in the back, like talking so loudly, not listening to any of the music. At one point,
Patty, please.
At one point, I like actually, because people were kind of turning around and looking, and I was like, fuck, I probably should tell them that like they need to go outside because like that's not okay, you know? And I'm sure that happens all the time because it's New Orleans, but like this is kind of the place that you go when you like actually want to listen to the music, okay? And so I was just there. I wasn't talking to any of my coworkers, but it put into context like, oh yeah, none of these people, like, a ton of people from dinner, first of all, didn't eat the fucking dessert. Did you guys see those desserts? I was the only one eating them, and I'm like, bro, this is what I waited the whole dinner for. I've been excited for these desserts the whole time, and people wouldn't even take a spoonful. They just wanted more alcohol. They're like, where's the alcohol? And I'm like, I tweeted this, but like, choosing alcohol over dessert, objectively the wrong choice. There's a few choices there. There's choosing alcohol and dessert. Cool. There's choosing dessert, no alcohol. Cool. There's choosing no dessert, no alcohol. Cool. But for some reason, because it felt like a diet culture thing is what it felt like. Like, I don't eat the sugar. Like, there are some people who just don't like sweets. But I could tell by the way some people were talking that it was like, oh, I don't need that, you know? And I'm like, none of that. I don't want diet culture in my life, please. And why the fuck would you be drinking poison but not eating just like a brownie with yummy ice cream that's probably made right here? My God. So it was that, and then it was the fact that people from there were like, no, I'm not going to go out. I'm just going to go back to my hotel room. That is totally fine. That's totally fine. That's just not my people. Like, that's just not my people. Like, I'm not hanging out with people that are party animals, but I do hang out with people that like enjoy live music. Not all my friends enjoy jazz, but like, if you're in a town, don't you want to see what the locals do? Don't you want to see what's known for and experience some of the culture? You just want to eat at your hotel restaurant? Like, I don't know. You can tell me if I'm being insane here, but I'm just like, that is how I feel. Like, that is the way how I feel. I'm just like, I don't understand you people. You just want to get trashed and not experience this place you're at for free. Like, it's just so opposite of the way that I go about my life. And I'm like, these just are not my people. Like, it's hard when you just cannot, and this is the thesis of the whole vlog, is like, it's hard when you just cannot show up as 100% yourself. Because I've worked so long and so hard to be 100% comfortable and self-assured with myself and stop giving in so much to the male gaze. I'll never be able to eradicate it from my life, but like stop giving it so much conscious weight in my life, and just being more more settled in who I am, and it's hard when I'm in an environment that like directly butts up against that. So that's none of my business. It's none of my business, but I'm very excited tomorrow night to have a coworker-free environment where there's nobody infiltrating the things I like to do and making me feel like I'm a fucking freak for wanting to see jazz music. Because jazz music is literally a beautiful part of American history. There are not many beautiful parts of American history. Jazz music is one of them. And like, if you don't get it, you don't get it. The last day, and then I'm free.
See, this town's got character.
I know, I love it.
More bread.
World feels like a war. Tell me
It's truly so beautiful here, but I cannot do the humidity. I can't do it even in December. I think I need to start watching some New Orleans vloggers. So if you know any, put them in the doobly-doo.
someone who recognized I needed a real one. Coming
Holy
on the
fucking shit. I was just walking down that street and something synchronous just happened to me. It's so funny because I'm reading The Artist's Way, as I've mentioned 3,000,000 times. I will be doing a book club on it, by the way, on my upcoming Patreon. But anyway, every week it asks me, have you experienced any synchronicity, which is just sort of like serendipitous run-ins and stuff. I was just walking down the street, crossing the sidewalk, crossing the crosswalk as I'm doing now, and a car pulls up. A white SUV is at the intersection when I'm there and rolls down the window, and a girl is like, Catherine Berry? And it was somebody from my high school who I haven't seen in at least 6 or 7 years. Hi, Rebecca, if you're watching. And somehow she recognized me and had the audacity to say hello, because I'm always too chicken shit to ever say hello in case it's not the person or they don't remember me. But we had this lovely conversation. She went to Tulane and has lived here ever since and is doing her master's in social work. And like, oh my God, it just like really put the nail in the coffin of like how magical this city is. Like, it's so charming and special, and everyone is so lovely here. And like, I don't know, maybe that happens to you guys, but I don't think I've ever visited a city and just happened to run into somebody I know. I run into you guys a lot because there's a lot of you, but there's not that many people that I went to high school with. And wow, I'm just stunned. Ah, what a great trip.
I guess I believe in love, but fuck it. You're not my husband, it's something other than my girlfriend residing. My double bed that's trapped in the back corner of my bedroom. It's plain, I love a poster of your body plastered over white paint, the scratches from the time I punched the wall like a crack